On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk. Men are into sports more than women, but it's
I get
like,
what
you
you're
know,
saying.
you'll say that men and women are fundamentally different, but you won't acknowledge that when it comes to certain conversations that we're having, no matter what people's experiences is, no matter what the data that's been cited or whatever, it's like you try to justify the logic behind men and women can do the same things to a certain extent. And it's just, for me, honestly, it's textbook feminist argument.
I understand what you're saying. But in terms of the way the questions are asked, right? Why are women uninterested? Some women are interested. Like, maybe the question could have been reformulated. I don't know. But in terms of why are women uninterested, you just said Amira's interested. She's a woman. So
But what you just did is exactly what I just
women,
cited with the basketball analogy. You just did the exact same thing.
But I think women care about a lot of stuff. It's just more the things that hit our emotional hearts and what gets us to tear jerking and things. And that's what we focus on. And unfortunately, majority of worldviews, it's about laws and creating things like that and not necessarily what makes you feel good.
All right, Amira. Why are women uninterested in life beyond their own circle?
So I kind of agree with Anton on this, because Anton says that women tend to pay attention to things that are interesting to them. And to me, I believe that women only pay attention to things that bring emotion out of them, like something that they can emotionally connect with. I think that's why most women are so disinterested with other things that aren't in their own circle. As for worldviews, I don't really know why women aren't really that well versed with that, because I used to do interviews. I used to do man on the street interviews back when I believe it was like election time. And I used to interview just random people on the street. And I noticed that when I used to try to interview women were just, I asked them, like, who's the chief of police? Who's the vice president? Who's, the speaker of the house? Women were just like, I don't know, but I know about makeup. And I'm like, women, we got to do better here. And I think, me personally, because Anton did bring it up, that I'm so into politics and worldview, and I'm interested. I think it changes my perspective on how I live here in America, because I think a lot of women, especially women who talk about this gender pay gap and how hard it is to live in America as a woman, and it's just so difficult, and the patriarchy here. When you have a person who hasn't even experienced another country, you don't even know what's going on worldwide, you're going to see the world differently, and you're going to perceive your world to be so much worse than what it truly is. And that's why I try to bring out, like, okay, this is happening here, over here. It's a lot worse over here. Things are different here. So I think we should be more interested in world events. And yes, we should pay attention to things. I think that's it. Oh, right. As for politics translates to power. Politics means power. So when you have women, the reason why women aren't so interested in that is because women typically aren't that power hungry. They're not as power hungry as men. Let's just say that. They are very power hungry, but not as much as men. I think men desire that power more so. So I think that's another reason why women aren't interested in politics as much.
Okay. Why are women uninterested in life beyond their own circle?
I think that's a incorrect generalization of women. I do not think that women just aren't interested in anything outside of their lives any more than men are. I think that there is I guess if we're talking about America, there's like an American thing where people, might be interested in certain things that they like or whatever. But I don't think that women are just less interested in news than men. Like, I mean, if anybody has some information about that, but I just don't.
It was research done.
I just told you I was doing man on the street interviews, and when I encountered women, most
right.
women
I mean, I understand.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, do you think that honestly? Do you think that
But uninterested in life beyond their own circle? I don't know. I think that's pretty extreme.
Do you think that Kay and Jen, honestly, you don't think that you subscribe to like a feminist perspective? You don't think that you kind of, lean towards being more of a feminist?
What do you know? But if you could tell me what you mean by that, that would be great.
Because, like, for example, it seems like the basis of a lot of your arguments is to try to equalize or to justify in some way, shape, or form how men and women are the same, and we not.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think men and women are the same. I don't. But I think in terms of some of the topics we've discussed, there's a lot of similarities in terms of just American culture. I'm not saying, I think men and women are equally important, but very different from each other. That's my philosophy. I do not think that men and women are the same. Are they both equally important? Yes. But the same? No. But in terms of the topics that we're talking about, why are women uninterested? As if we could just go out and survey random men and they would just be fully well-versed on certain things. Like, I think
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example.
Depends on the person.
It's universally understood that men are more interested in sports than women. If JR asked a question and he said, why are women more interested in sports, or why are men more interested in sports than women, or why are men more interested in basketball than women? I would assume that based off of his history, your argument would be, well, why are we assuming that women aren't interested in basketball? Don't we have the WNBA? Like, you know what I'm saying? No. But it's universally accepted that men are into sports more than women. But it's like you'll say that men and women are fundamentally different, but you won't acknowledge that when it comes to certain conversations that we're having, no matter what people's experiences is, no matter what the data that's been cited or whatever, it's like you try to justify the logic behind men and women can do the same things to a certain extent. And it's just, for me, honestly, it's textbook feminist argument.
I understand what you're saying. But in terms of the way the questions are asked, right? Why are women uninterested? Some women are interested. Like, maybe the question could have been reformulated. I don't know. But in terms of why are women uninterested, you just said Amira's interested. She's a woman. So
but what you just did is exactly what I just cited with the basketball analogy. You just did the exact same thing.